Welcome to Go Beyond Busy. This episode features a conversation with John Anderton from Clarke based in Melbourne. John has built and scaled multiple businesses over more than 2 decades across manufacturing, software, and global team structures. The discussion covers what John wishes he had understood earlier about running a business, the balance between working in the business and stepping back to build systems, and how offshore teams can support growth when roles, processes, and expectations are clear. This is a practical conversation for business owners thinking about scale, structure, and smarter use of time.
Hi, I'm Christine from Go Beyond Busy. I'm here with John Anderton, who is with a company called Clarke, and he's in Melbourne, Australia. How are you today, John?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Very good. So tell me, John, what have you learned about running a business that you wish you'd known earlier?
I've been in business for about 25 years now. I'm on to about my 4th business. I think the biggest thing for me is that balance between working on the business and working in the business. When I was younger, I read a lot of books like The E-Myth, and it's all about working on your business. I've spent a lot of time working with different startups. I've taken a number of startups to be quite successful, but I've also been around a lot of startups that have failed. And there's times in a startup where you have to work in the business. You have to actually get out there and do stuff. And if you don't do that action, you're not going to have success.
So tell me, you've said you've run 4 businesses. What kinds of businesses have you run?
Quite a diverse background. My first business actually was a food manufacturing business. We made muffins. We made 5,000 a day. We grew that business 460% in 3 years. My business partner ended up buying me out. He still runs it today, 20 years later. He's got a machine that can make 100,000 muffins in a shift now. After that, I turned around another struggling business. And then through actually my B&I chapter, I pivoted at the time the internet was coming out. This is sort of 2006. Internet was hitting business ready. And I'd learned how to make websites when I was studying aerospace engineering in the 90s. And so I could see that it was changing the way people were going to do business. And I started a software engineering business in 2006 called Butterfly. I built that up. At its peak, it had 54 staff, 7.5 million turnover. That's Australian dollars. And then my current business is high quality offshore staff. We hire people mainly in the Philippines for Australian businesses. That's Clarke.
Tell me about Clarke. It's an unusual name.
Yeah, thanks. The name comes from Arthur C. Clarke. In 1964, and there's footage on YouTube, you can see it. He describes that in future, work will be about communication technology and connecting with people, not commuting. And he actually said, you'll be able to run your business just as easily from Bali as from Edinburgh. We've passed that point now. Most businesses haven't realized it and haven't taken advantage of it. Some definitely have. The future of business is hyper global connected, and we're able to find really great specialists in all kinds of areas where you can have the required talent in a high cost jurisdiction like Australia and New Zealand. And then whatever work you've got elsewise done in jurisdictions where you've got access to great talent at a much lower rate.
So you're a global recruiting company? Is that a summary?
Effectively, that's a good way to think about it. We're often working with business owners that have never worked with offshore talent before. So there's the strategic part to it as well. So for example, for a construction company, they do commercial air conditioning installation. We've helped them think through how they can access offshore talent. Now, their challenge is, how do you hire enough people who are of good quality? And so for everyone that works at a desk in their business, we've hired someone offshore. The estimator in Australia has got an estimator offshore. The CAD technician has got a CAD technician offshore. We've got mechanical engineers, we've got designers, we've got bookkeepers. And in that way, the Australian business can continue to grow. And yeah, they'll have people on the ground doing installations, but supported by a team which is hybrid, some in Australia, some offshore.
Just to be clear, you are helping businesses hire people who are located offshore, not helping them to hire people to bring them into their own country to work in person.
Yeah, that's correct. So for about 20 years, I have hired people overseas and brought them into Australia. And that's tremendously expensive. And so I'm quite experienced at that. But these days, really to access rapid growth, organizations are better off to actually rethink how they're doing their work and make use of people offshore. And the challenge is to be creative in this area. For example, there's farmers using drones driven by people in the Philippines to herd sheep and electronic gates to move them between paddocks. Every time there's a step change in technology, there's more work can be done remotely.
Can you give me an example of how a small business might use Clarke Point?
Yeah, excellent. So I'm going to describe a one-person business. So one person in Australia. Now, this is a real example. One person in Australia, 20 people in the Philippines. He's got a scientific B2B sales and marketing. Now, they research organizations that they are going to sell to. He's got a very well-defined target audience. Within that, he's mapped out the personas of the buyers. He knows he's got the database of the organization and the decision makers in each organization. They have a really great outreach program that generates appointments. He in Australia does the appointments, but his sales offer is so good that it's too good to refuse. He does it. It's very strategic. It's very smart. While he does that sort of 45-minute online chat with a person, with a potential client, there's a virtual assistant either listening in or working with an AI note taking later, who will do the proposal, do the follow-up. When the client goes ahead, everything's done offshore. The actual work's done offshore. The accounting is done offshore. The account management is done offshore, the project management. And so what you end up having is one person in Australia who's only really working 6 hours a week, turning over a very substantial amount of money at a very high profit margin and growing at 20-30% per annum. Now, one of the things he's just done, because he's really mapped out his sales process like clockwork, and it really does work without any of his involvement up until that sort of initial video chat, he's now pointing that sales machine at the US market. And so there's really almost no limit to the upside in his business. That's one person working 6 hours a week.
So I've got a couple of questions here. One is that your example is someone in Australia, but can that person be in America or in the UK or New Zealand or wherever?
100%. Location doesn't matter. It helps if you're in a nearby time zone. But to be honest, it's probably better if he's not in Australia, moving to Singapore or some other lifestyle destination, maybe Bali. But these days, the technology is so good, you could be anywhere. And this is where, if you structure your business correctly, there's no reason you can't take your family on a holiday through Europe, and you might have to have a few meetings in the middle of the night. That's really the downside. And the clients don't even know.
The other question was, you've talked about structuring your business correctly, having the processes documented. Is that sort of a prerequisite? What if you're not at all organized? Is that where you call in a business consultant like me to help with that sort of thing? Or does Clarke Point help with that as well?
Excellent question. So just to be clear, Clarke Point does not do that. So typically we find our customers fall into a couple of categories. For the medium to large businesses, they've already got great processes and they just need some advice around supporting. Okay, so we normally onboard in person. How do we onboard remotely? For the smaller businesses, it depends. For the really solo one-man band type business, if they try and get all the processes documented first, what I find is they tie themselves into knots and they just never get started. So I recommend basically one of two strategies. The first strategy is effectively you hire somebody good who's experienced, maybe you pay a bit more, and then you get them to document the processes as you onboard them, and you use that as a checkpoint to see if they have understood it. And of course, if you can afford it, the better way to do it is to engage a business consultant who will set it up properly very well. And that's, do you want to just go to the answer quickly or do you want to try and map it out yourself?
Is this just for people who know how to write stuff and write blog posts and do chat GPT and stuff? Or can you actually hire somebody who's a lot more qualified, like an architect or a designer or somebody like that?
Great question. So we mainly hire in the Philippines. There's 110 million people. We'll often get 2,500 applicants for roles, sometimes 9,000 applicants. There is amazing talent there that run everything. And to be honest, you can get specialties in the Philippines that you cannot get in Australia and probably New Zealand. Because companies have been offshoring for decades now, it can be quite possible to find the most obscure talent overseas that already knows the local market. For example, we have a client that does balustrades for high-rise buildings. We hired a CAD technician who specializes in balustrades for high-rise buildings, and they have experience designing balustrades for a company in the same market. Familiar with the building standards, they know the way of working, and that's a CAD technician for a high-rise balustrade expert. We've placed property accountants to manage commercial properties. It's very specialized. The software used is called Yardi. Almost nobody's ever heard of it. We found someone with over a decade experience managing 100 commercial properties for a Brisbane company. Not just do they know that software, when the prior company moved to that software, they flew the person from the Philippines to Brisbane to be in the office to supervise the data transfer. Our specialty is working with companies to figure out the roles that they can take advantage of and then go to market and find subject matter experts in whatever field. And sometimes that takes a few iterations to really hit the nail on the head. For example, for a printing business, we found customer service representatives very easily. That's the one we got 9,000 applicants for. We ended up hiring somebody who actually happened to have lived on the Gold Coast for 10 years working in a print shop, speaks the language perfectly well, understands how to estimate jobs or quote jobs and do the sales component in terms of the sort of inbound selling, closing deals. Then we went to get pre-press operators. Now that's the language used in the Australian market, pre-press operator. We only had 90 applicants. Now in the Philippines, that means there's something wrong. So we're changing the language on that and we're going back to market with slightly different wording, and we'll get at least 500 applications.
There's lots of VA recruiting type of places around. Why is Clarke Point different?
There's really two main differences. The first is we are absolutely specialists at finding subject matter experts, people who are high quality in what they do, experts in the mandatory and nice to have experience, the right level of spoken English for the role, great attention to detail, demonstrated longevity in roles. The second thing is the market for offshore talent is heavily dominated by players that have been around since before the pandemic. And their model is quite different. So they'll often keep 60 to 80% of the money for themselves, and they'll basically keep a massive margin. Now, we do it for about half that. As a result, the offshore talent gets 75% or more money in their pocket. As a result, we attract a bigger and better pool of talent and you retain them for a longer period of time.
Thank you very much for joining me today, John. I'll put all John's contact details and stuff underneath this video or wherever it is you're watching this. And if any of you are interested in having a talk with John or with me about your business, I can do a free business strategy session, then get in touch. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Christine.
If this conversation with John Anderton sparked ideas about structuring your business, building better support around you, or creating more space to focus on the work that matters, you can find John's contact details under where you are viewing this episode. A free business strategy session with Christine is also available for business owners who want a clear, calm look at what comes next. Details for both can be found at gobeyondbusy.com. Thanks for listening.